This is a brief training video to help you get going on your PLEP and goals assignment. You will find the PLEP and goals assignment in Module 2, page 5, and that's what you're looking at right now. One of the parts of our job that may not be as attractive as other parts of our job is the paperwork. And it's really my philosophy that we want to keep the paperwork, we want to be compliant in the paperwork, and we want to do what we need to do to put into on paper what our students need. But we don't want to lose sight of the fact that it's not about how well and how much we write on our paperwork. It's really about how we serve our students. And we can get really caught up in writing goals and PLEPs that are far too elaborate than necessary. I want to show you some of the things on this page that I think you need to pay attention to. I've provided you with the Kearney Public School language arts standards, and you can see them here. And also I provided for you the Kearney Public Schools math standards, which you can see here. Now, going back to the language arts standards, one of the things that we've been doing in special education now for at least the last 10 or 12 years is trying to tie our goals to the academic standards. The academic standards vary from district to district and state to state, but they're really quite similar. And one of the problems that students have when they're constructing appropriate goals for students is they might tend to write the standard word for word, but oftentimes standards are not measurable or they're not appropriate for the kid. As a basic rule of thumb, we want to point towards standards at the first grade level, at the fourth grade level, and at the eighth grade level. So for example, if a student was a second grader, we would be pointing toward a fourth grade standard. Let's take a look at some fourth grade standards here real quickly. As I scroll down on this document, here's one that says at the top, by the end of the fourth grade, students will draw on a variety of strategies to read and understand unfamiliar words and phrases. Well, we could tweak that to say, for example, by the end of the year, because we want 1 year's growth, at least 1 year's growth. By the end of the year, the student will be able to, for example, decode and comprehend a level 3 text. That would be appropriate if the student's reading right now at about second grade level. As you can also see here in the plain text, the text that isn't bold, there are short-term objectives. The things that we need to do to turn our short-term objectives into appropriate short-term objectives is we need to add a criterion. Let me show you an example of some IEP goals. I have constructed a document here for you that shows what I believe to be some pretty good goals for students who are elementary age. My background the last 20 years is elementary, although I did spend 4 years at the secondary level. But if you have a student who is in grades 1 through 5, here are some goals that could be appropriate for them. These are pretty generic goals. Now, if your student's an 8th grader and they're reading, let's say, at 6th grade level, one might even question, why are they in special education? That's just this person's opinion. But so some of these goals could be appropriate for students who are low functioning at the secondary level. If you take a look at these goals, I provided, here are, for example, appropriate goals, and then I have benchmarks under these goals. The benchmarks are steps leading toward the annual goal. Not all states now require, not all districts now require short-term objectives, but we teach it to our students as a best practice. Remember that your annual goals do not necessarily have a criterion, but your benchmarks do, whether they're 80% accuracy or 80% of the time. And if in this course, I am asking you to provide goals that go along with the tests results that I'm providing with you in the module that has all the various tests in it, the Terra, the TEMA, the Woodcock, the TAL. If you were to use just these goals as appropriate for each student, that would be fine for the course. I'm not looking for great involved goals that are and the more involved they are, they tend to be harder to measure. Another part of this assignment is to come up with a PLEP page. A PLEP page is the present level of performance page found on page 2 of Nebraska IEPs and found in all IEPs throughout the country. What I teach my students is to come up with and let me show you an example of a PLEP and goal page. This is a template for a PLEP and goal page. Basically, if the student qualifies in one area, which might be reading, you're going to write a 2-paragraph PLEP. The first one introduces the student. The second one talks specifically about reading. If they qualify for writing, there's another paragraph. If they qualify for math, there's another paragraph. All you really need to do is fill in the blanks on this PLEP page, and you'll have successfully completed it. And that's what I'm looking for in this assignment. I've also given you a flow chart that explains what goes into each paragraph. For example, your first paragraph, Johnny is a student at such and such elementary school. Johnny is a very nice child. However, he struggles academically. He's below grade level in reading, writing, and math. That's an example of a first paragraph for the student. And I've also given you ideas into what goes into each goal and what goes into each objective. I've also provided you with a PowerPoint that has both good and poor goals, and I think that should be useful to you. There's a lot of slides on there talking about bad goals as well as good goals. If you have any further questions, please do not hesitate to call me. I also would like to alert, this is the assignment part right here, this group PLEP goals thing right here. First of all, you have an activity familiarizing you with the various language arts standards and the various math standards. And then you go into, this is the hypothetical kid you're going to make a PLEP for. And also keep in mind that SS stands for standard score and GE stands for grade equivalent. And that would give you an idea where the child is functioning. Remember, standard score is tied to the IQ metric, with 100 being the mean and each standard deviation being 15. So a child, for example, with a standard score of 70 is functioning 2 standard deviations below the mean. And keep in mind that in order to qualify, we need to have at least a 20-point discrepancy between where their ability level is and where they're functioning academically. Well, I hope that this training video clears up whatever confusion you might have. And like I say, I'm available. Call me anytime if I could be of some help.